Dear gentle reader, the time has come for me to share my thoughts on the latest season at the time. But seriously though, let's talk about season 3, part 1 of Bridgerton. And this is your spoiler alert. First, I want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed watching this season. But my main issue was with the pacing. Everything happened faster than I think it should have. There was a lot going on, and it feels like they were trying to cram a season's worth of stuff into these 4 episodes. And the last thing I'll say that has to do with my overall experience does have to do with how these 4 episodes ended with Penelope and Colin finally getting together. I don't think that should have happened at that point. It felt like they were doing it just to have something there for us so we tune in for the next part, but I feel like we were already going to do that anyway, so what was the point? Now let's go more in depth with each specific storyline. Let's talk about Francesca, who is making her official debut this season. So this season of Young Ladies has been uninspiring for the queen up until the point when she sees Francesca playing pianoforte. And that's when she deems Francesca sparkling, in her words, and now she has all of this attention thrust on her, which is the exact opposite of what she actually wants. And now she has this choice to make. She has to choose between who the queen has matched for her, which was Lord Samadali, and the person who she's kind of choosing for herself, which is Lord Kilmartin. And honestly, like, there's something so innocent and so adorable about Francesca and Kilmartin that I just love. My hope for her is that she's able to speak up for what she actually wants, and maybe it come with a little bit of advice from Penelope. Who knows? And speaking of Penelope, I thought that we were going to get more of a budding friendship from the two of them. We did get that one moment when they were at that one ball, but that was pretty much it. I thought there would be a lot more, and maybe there will be in the next part. I don't know, but I was expecting more in this first part. But like I said, there's still time for this pairing to come together and have scenes together and form a bond. Now, moving on to Eloise. So, throughout the series, I've been fine with her, but because of her recent behavior, I just have one question for her, and that is, who do you want to be? Because to me, and this is only going to make sense to a certain group of people, but to me, it seems like she thinks she's a Sybil, but she's not. Like, she walks around acting like she is rejecting society, rejecting this whole marriage idea. Meanwhile, she is obsessed with Lady Whistledown and secretly is reading all of her issues. And she was so ready to conform to the society once she started this friendship with Cressida. And it's almost as if, like, this rejection of society that she walks around with, this demeanor, that she carries that because it makes her feel better than everybody else. And then with her being very upset about Penelope all of a sudden wanting a husband, I think that, like, upsettedness that she's feeling, she thinks it has a lot to do with the fact that it's out of character for Penelope, but I think it has to do with the fact that Eloise was not a really good friend to Penelope, and you can tell because she doesn't really know what Penelope actually wants out of her own life because she didn't actually take the time to get to know Penelope for who she really is. And I will say that I am in no way the biggest fan of Cressida, but I am a fan of the fact that she can challenge Eloise in their friendship. And she can confront Eloise and tell her about herself a little bit, and has. We've seen it. I think that Eloise really needs that right now because she needs to acknowledge and, like, understand and be aware of her behavior and how it is coming across, and then maybe she can finally make the decision of, like, who does she want to be? Is she actually a person that rejects society, or is she someone who is just going to conform to it when in she can take advantage of it and it suits her best? Like, she needs to make a decision on what she wants to do and who she wants to be in her life, and I think that this relationship with Cressida is going to be like a catalyst for that. Now let's quickly talk about Colin, and I do mean quickly because there really isn't that much to say about him. You know, I agree with what a lot of people have been saying about him, and it's just that he was not at all interesting. Who they've given us is just a charmer who doesn't really have anything else going for himself other than talking about his travels. I really wish that they spent more time focusing on his writing than his escapades. That would have given him a stronger connection to Penelope, and then that would have led to the conflict of him finding out that she is Lady Whistledown and what that all means for them. Okay, now, yes, let's talk about Penelope and her taking full control of her life because I loved every minute of it. I loved when she had that moment with her mom when she called her out and asked her something along the lines of, am I only of use to you when I'm married? Like, yes, Penelope, call her out for exactly who she is being. And I do hope that they build a little bit more on that in the second part because the face that her mother gave after was like disappointment and being upset. And obviously, she was called out, so she was kind of shocked that this was coming from Penelope. But it seems like maybe this is going to spark a change in her mother, and she will hopefully, even if it's in small increments, change her behavior and how she interacts with her daughters, specifically Penelope. And now on to Lord Devling versus Colin. And unfortunately, this is where I get a little upset about Penelope's storyline. So let me lay it all out. I honestly think that she deserved a much better love interest than Lord Devling to like counteract Colin. Because to everyone else, Lord Devlin was just the bore. Like he was the guy that was into nature and only ate vegetables, and like people didn't really like he wasn't really a catch to anybody, not even the queen. And he didn't even really care about marriage or love or anything like that. He just needed someone to take care of his home when he was off doing his travels. Like, I don't understand why he had to be such an obviously lame choice for Penelope. I really wanted her to have a real potential match, someone who like adored her and was obsessed with her because she's beautiful and she's lovely and she's this quirky, amazing person and they're just like can't get enough of her. Which I guess they did give us with Colin, but again, like I said before, he was also a lame match as well. And speaking of Colin, let's talk about their first kiss. They made Penelope so desperate in that moment, and it really did not have to be that way. Now, if it was up to me, this is how it would have went down. There were already hints of Colin falling for Penelope up until that point. If they instead ended the episode with the scene that was his dream, but we, the viewer, just don't know that it's the dream yet, and like they kiss and the episode ends, and then the next episode starts, how it does on the show now, where it's his dream and he just wakes up, and like that's the moment when we realize it's a dream. That would have been much better in my opinion. That way we get even more of like the buildup of Colin longing for her and being obsessed with her and wanting her, and it doesn't make Penelope out to be this desperate woman who just has like completely given up on finding love and is just like begging her friend to kiss her because she doesn't want to die without being kissed. And lastly, I am upset that her secret with Colin helping her find a husband was outed. Like I didn't want it to happen. Like I understand that it needed to be done, especially with Eloise being involved, because then she could see that Penn was going to write about herself as Lady Whistledown and wasn't going to hold anything back, and kind of like compare that to when she wrote about Eloise. And in that sense, it would help Eloise learn more about Penelope and like how she is as she writes as Lady Whistledown. But I also feel like that whole thing could have happened with just them having a conversation about it and hashing everything out. I really just wanted this to be Penn's time to shine and like be in the spotlight and get her glory as this awesome human being that she is. But it felt like every single time they took 2 steps forward with that, they were taking 3 steps back. And that was really upsetting. Now, onto some quick honorable mentions. Yeah, there's definitely something brewing with Mama Bridgerton and Lord Anderson. But I do sense the conflict because he is Lady Danbury's brother, and there is something going on between them. They have not been very open about what it is, but his behavior is not something that she likes. So if he tries to move forward with Mama Bridgerton, I'm very interested to see her reaction to all of that and what she has to say about it. And lastly, I am curious to see how the Mondrix storyline will pan out. Right now, it's falling a little flat for me, so I just hope that it builds to something better than what it is now. Now, to what do I think will happen in part two of season three? First up, I want to see how Colin reacts to finding out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown. Like, how will he find out? Will she tell him? Will he end up finding out on his own? Or will they even have that happen in this season to begin with? Because that's also a possibility. Second, with Eloise, I know that she's not going to have a good reaction to Penelope and Colin. Like, it's just not going to happen. What I'm more interested in seeing is her resolution this season with like her behavior and just like her relationship with Penelope and Cressida and all of that. I just hope that she gets this like resolution where she can have a solid sense of self so she can have a clear path moving forward and know where she's going and know what she's doing. I am excited to see more of Francesca's storyline, like I said earlier, and I really hope that she does end up with Martin. Like, that's all I want for her. I feel like he is her piece, and I love that for her. And lastly, I'm wondering if we'll see Kate and Anthony again. Like, I thought they would be in more, just like a tad more. I know they're not like the previous couples are not in the most recent season a lot, but I thought that maybe we would have seen them popped up at least once more during this part, so maybe they will in the next one. And as always, please let me know all of your Bridgerton thoughts in the comments. See ya.